Hey, it's Christine, owner and co-founder of prettyspirits.com, your favorite online metaphysical shop. And on this channel, we talk all things spirituality, manifestation, and entrepreneurship. On today's episode, we're going to get into the ways that I have learned to be successful at entrepreneurship. So this isn't going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually run your business, but these are the things that you should have mentally and emotionally in place in order to go down the path of entrepreneurship without getting deterred or really thrown off by your own self-sabotage or by the influence of others. We all know that being an entrepreneur is not an easy feat. Even though everyone wants to jump into it, it takes so much grit and dedication to really be on top of it and to hold yourself accountable for all the decisions that need to be made along the way. So I'm going to give you some things that I've learned along this journey, and hopefully you can implement them and allow yourself to grow as an entrepreneur. So the first thing would be to not compare yourself or your brand to anyone else's. So this doesn't mean that you don't look at other brands for inspiration from time to time, or really learn from people who have done things within your field for that research, for that understanding. But this means that when you are attempting to execute things for your own brand that means something to you or that excite you, don't go over and look for someone else to compare yourself to, because that can often dim the light of your own voice. When you're not being authentic to how an idea came through to you, you're chipping away at the special nature of what has been implanted into your reality. Everyone in your industry has a different way of presenting information and really having their brand exist in the world, and that diversity helps everyone out. So if you're comparing yourself and then adjusting yourself to be cookie cutter or exactly like another, or you're afraid to do something because someone already is successful in that path, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to perfect it, to do something different, to offer the people out there a different voice to hear from. So try to limit the amount of time that you are comparing yourself to others. It can really play on your insecurities. It can cloud your creativity, and it can stall the whole process of your entrepreneurship journey. The next thing that I would suggest that you do is make sure you balance your critical nature, your pressure that you're putting on yourself. Make sure you're balancing that with encouragement, okay? So make sure that you aren't someone who is so focused on entrepreneurship, focused on being successful, that you don't even allow yourself to just be happy throughout the journey or to give yourself props if you've actually reached a certain goal. So if you know that gaining a certain amount of clients was important to you and then you achieved that, don't breeze by it and not give yourself that pat on the back. Because if you're always in that place of pushing yourself without that pause, it'll feel overwhelming. You can burn out. So that will be my second thing, is to encourage you to slow down and to find balance with being an achiever, wanting to accomplish, but then also giving yourself acknowledgement for the things that you have done really well along the way. The third thing I would say is super important is to invest in activities, spiritual activities, mental health activities, physical activities that are outside of the scope of work that you do, because this allows you to stay grounded and it allows you to have outlets that aren't just work related. So many of you may understand, being in entrepreneurship, you do not get to clock out. It is an all day, sometimes all night experience, and it can leave you feeling drained. It can leave you feeling disconnected from the things that give you joy and just uninspired sometimes because you aren't doing other activities to pour in that new energy and that fresh perspective. So I really encourage you to find things to get back to a place of mental peace, whether that's therapy sessions or spiritual guidance sessions, weekly or monthly, or maybe having a gym class in place to make sure your body is getting fed all it needs, working out in the mornings, or doing something that is just purely fun and adventurous. But make it consistent so that as much as you're giving to your business, you are also giving to yourself, remembering that the person behind the brand is not a machine. You need time to just unplug, to detach, and to give yourself some goodness along the way. So find a class, find something that you can do with others, or if you want solo time, just give to yourself. Take yourself to a spa day. This is something I did with my business partner recently. Treat yourself so that you feel encouraged to keep going. The next way that I would encourage you to really step up within entrepreneurship and give yourself that extra boost to keep going is to find a process to brain dump. And what I mean by a brain dump is that when you are in this space of entrepreneurship, you can have so many great ideas come through. You can have your to-do list in your mind and you feel like, I'll get to it. Like, I thought of it, that's easy, I'll remember to circle back. But it's really important as an entrepreneur to free your mind, because creativity is a big part of what we do, creating things. And in order to receive new inspiration, we have to have room in our mind to connect with that spiritual part of ourselves. So if you have all of the to-dos on your mind and tasks that you have to get to, but you don't have proper management tools for getting those things out of you, then your mind can, go towards stressful thoughts and discouraging thoughts, because you can see how much you have to do and it can feel like an insurmountable day ahead of you. So try to do things like brain dumping, either through talking it out in a voice memo and just getting all of your thoughts out and saving that to listen to later. Or you can have a journal that's just titled brain dump. But what makes it different than a planner or an agenda is the fact that there is no set way to dictate or to write this information out. The whole purpose is to purely pour your thoughts onto paper or into a voice memo, a voice recording. Just pour it out. Do not judge it. Do not try to list it or prioritize it. You'll have a different place for that through planners and things like that. But this is just to free your mind. So having a way to do that either daily or every other day or weekly to get back to a place of emptiness inside, you see everything outside of you. Your next phase down the line, when you organize that time, could be to find out your priorities and act accordingly. But definitely find time to brain dump. It'll make you feel so much happier. I always feel energized after doing it. The next way that I would say, the fifth way to give back to yourself during this entrepreneurship journey, is to definitely give to yourself before you give to others. Give to yourself before you give to others. So in the morning, when you wake up and you want to go straight to your phone, straight to Instagram, straight to your to-do list, try to pause that a little bit and take a moment to give to yourself in some way. So if you want to take time to pray, to meditate, if you want to take a luxurious shower in the morning, if you want to just have a moment, watch something entertaining in the morning, but do something where there's a special 20 to 30 minutes. More would be great. Read a book. Do things to give back to yourself so you know that you are the priority before your business, before other people. Because if you keep feeding the beast and telling it that it is your idol, that you worship it, that it is so much more powerful than you are, you're forgetting that you're the person behind it. And the more that you are fed, the more that you are honored, the better the experience for the business, because everything is energy. And if you're telling yourself that you are of high energy, of high value, high worth, then when you touch your business and your brand, you put that same intention, that same energy into what you are creating through entrepreneurship. So remember to prioritize your needs before anything else. The next way is to talk big and act big. Talk big and act big. So with this one, you'll find that in entrepreneurship, a lot of times you can get caught up in practical ideas where you're focused on meeting the bottom line, maybe focused on inventory for this shipment or making this appointment. And it starts to feel really like draining because you're focused on these tedious tasks, especially in the beginning when you can't even outsource these tasks because maybe your budget doesn't allow for it. Maybe you're still figuring out the foundation of what you need. So it can feel like not as exciting. And this is why some people feel like, oh, it's not for me. Like entrepreneurship is just so much, it's too much responsibility. It just feels so overwhelming. But if you do things around expanding the way you speak around your business and you talk big, meaning you talk more about the end goal, you talk more about big major milestones that you're going to reach, that you want to manifest for your brand, things that you're going to do once you hit a certain goal, how big and grand you'll celebrate that accomplishment by doing ABC. The more you do that, the more it drives the energy through law of attraction to actually align with that reality, to manifest those big ticket things. Then also the awareness of you talking so big and so grand, it allows you to take action, to take steps towards those big ideas. So you're no longer acting for the day-to-day, monotonous things, but you overall are working towards these really big, fun achievements long-term. So that spices things up. It allows you to hear yourself talk in big terms instead of speaking towards small goals to cover your bills or finances. But no, how many figures do you really want this business to make long-term? How many stores do you really see yourself owning, etc.? Tailor it to whatever business model you have, but talk big and then act big. Act as if you've already accomplished these things. We've talked about this in past manifestation videos. The more that you can live into it, the better the experience is long-term and the more fun you have along the way. The next thing I would suggest that you do is really have a support system. Have a support system in place that can really help guide you along your journey of entrepreneurship with love, encouragement, with their awareness of your gifts, your talents, and they can play on those when you're not even seeing them. Maybe you're feeling some imposter syndrome. Maybe you had a rejection or a failed effort some way, and you just need that group to say, no, this is just temporary. This happens to the best of us. I've been here. Maybe they can share some stories to relate. Having people in your field that can really understand, it would really be beneficial long-term because you don't feel isolated. And entrepreneurship can honestly feel isolating. You're not going to a traditional job where you can meet friends and have happy hour together and have that tradition. But you are in your own world where if you don't have a business partner and you are a solopreneur, then it's even more imperative that you find your community, you find your support system. And I would encourage them to be outside of your closest people. So not always your spouse or, best friend or even child, because sometimes it can feel like a burden to them to constantly have to build you up. They'll do it organically, but if you don't rely on them for it, then it can leave your relationship to be what it's meant to be, which is that romantic partner or your daughter day. You guys don't have to always talk about work. Your best friend, you guys can plan other opportunities and travel experiences in your life without always talking about business. So leave those to be your special places to relax and to detach. Find other systems, other people that can really hold you accountable and be there when you need them most. The next way I would encourage you to really build these systems to have a better entrepreneurial journey is to really take time to look over everything that you've done to get to where you are and plan something special to celebrate this experience. Because entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, and we know so many failure stories, but the fact that you took the leap of faith, you took the risk, you came forward, and you really did it, says a lot about you. It says a lot about your ability to trust in yourself and to be willing to grow and to be flexible and all these wonderful things. So I encourage you to plan something major, to really be in that energy of, wow, I did it, and I've made it, because you've made it to a different part in your life that maybe you didn't even see yourself being as a child, or if you did when you were younger, you had this foresight that you would be a business owner. Well, you're actually doing it. So doing things to really present a celebration. And this kind of ties into, don't be pressuring yourself or don't be critical on yourself without congratulating yourself. But this is more so the essence of you being an entrepreneur. It needs to be celebrated. It needs to be talked about with high regard, instead of you downplaying your business to others and not really talking yourself up because maybe you haven't reached a certain financial goal. Or maybe you see other people, oh, well, they're really entrepreneurs because they've been doing it for such and such years. Cut all of that out and just celebrate the fact that you are here, that you are committed, and that something amazing is coming to the world through your eyes and through your hands. And that means so much. The next way that I would say, number 9, the next way to keep yourself accountable in this whole experience of entrepreneurship is to definitely keep moves within your business to yourself. So if you are planning strategic things, you have these great ideas, you have certain product launches that you want to come out with. Maybe you learn something different from a mentor and you're so excited about that knowledge. Don't always take everything that you are going through your business or your entrepreneurial journey and run and tell other people. Because yes, having 1 or 2 others that you divulge to that you can really trust, that they have been vetted, they have a history of supporting you, a history of encouraging you, a history of supporting your brand and your vision, then okay. But I really would say keep things to yourself and just allow the work to speak for itself, allow the experiences to speak for themselves. Because if something falls through, or if you're speaking to someone and they're envious, they can throw doubt, they can throw things in the mix that make you feel insecure and unsure. But also there are people that just straight up steal. There are people that just straight up steal ideas, your inspiration. They don't want to see you win. They want to pull the rug from underneath you. So don't go bragging about what's happening within. Celebrate that on your own time, in your own way. But then just allow your work to speak. And then when it's out there, it's out there. It's no longer a secret. You've released that product. You've made that move. Then you can celebrate, globally all you want. But I want you to protect your brand like you would protect your child, because you're putting so much into it that you don't want to waste that good effort on people who really don't have the best intent. Okay? Number 10, the final way that I encourage you to move along this entrepreneurial journey is to definitely plan action moves that aren't really so hung up on the win. So the moves that you make within your business don't have so much attachment to it needing to go a certain way. You have to be flexible. You have to be in that energy of trial and error. The less that you plan your action moves without, oh, this has to go well, like we have to make this partnership or everything else fails. They have to accept us. We have to, get this grant from only this source, or we're not gonna be able to do anything. We're not gonna be able to finance the rest of our year. Having that type of limiting thought and that scarcity chat, I'm telling you, it will not open doors for you. So you have to plan action moves with the idea that this or better. If this doesn't work out, that's okay, because I know I am made for this. You double down on what you believe and what you feel is your purpose. And you know that the more you stand in confidence, the more your resources, the more the money, the more the opportunities will come your way. It is law. The more that you know this without a fraction of doubt, the more that you have a circle around you that can also believe the same, doors will open and obstacles will be removed. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me here today with the ways that I encourage you to stay the course, to celebrate your wins, and to be on this path of entrepreneurship in a way that is more open and just natural and playful. It's a long journey. It's a long journey. It has so many twists and turns, but as long as you understand that you can pivot, you can move along, you can fail, but then you can win, you will do well in this field. Thank you so much for joining. I encourage you to follow me on Instagram at Pretty Spirits Co. And you can also schedule a session with me if you want coaching, one-on-one business coaching around entrepreneurship. Visit me at www.prettyspirits.com. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.